All right, good day to you. My name is Fred Oakman, and as always, with me today is Mr. Jake Peters. We are PS This Is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast, and this is episode 161. And this is a show where we share our feelings about the current state of PlayStation. But before we get on with the show, I want to invite you all to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, which is youtube.com/PS This Is Awesome, and visit us on Twitter at PS This Is Awesome and Tumblr, psthisisawesome.tumblr.com. If you want to make fun of our trophy list on the PSN, you can find me at anchorless_81 and Mr. Jake Peters at jakesaw01. And as always, you can write the show at psthisisawesome@gmail.com. And most importantly, don't forget to share the show with your friends and be sure you leave comments and rate the podcast as you see fit. Jacob, how are you today?
I'm doing just fine.
You sound super stoked right now. Let me just say that for the record.
Just happened upon a video of like building collapses and stuff.
Oh, gosh.
It's just fucking crazy. Sorry. I just logged on to Facebook real quick. I was thinking like, oh man, I don't pretty much when people friend request me on Facebook, I just never respond to them.
Right.
So I was just looking to see, I have like a million fucking friend requests that I've just never responded to. And Facebook now has that thing at the top where they have like the watch option where it just like is a stream of video consciousness that it just throws at you.
Yep. And that's what it was showing you.
I clicked on it on accident. I didn't mean to. I clicked on it on accident and then this video popped up of like fucking buildings being exploded by dynamite and like there was a video of a big triaxle like gravel truck. You've probably seen those running down the road.
Yeah.
It was like driving down the road and it must have like it was somehow tethered to something. I don't know what the hell happened, but it all of a sudden just like caught and flipped into the air and just smashed through a bridge. It's like
destruction, videos of destruction.
And I don't like an internet browser. Like, there's those people that'll just like sit in like fucking browse memes.
Click and browse and watch and click. Yeah.
I don't really do that. But I just happened upon this video. Is
fair enough.
Entertaining. Anyway, sorry to get
that's wild.
What are you up to?
No, you're fine. I just got done eating a couple of peanut butter cookies. My mother dropped off a care package because she did her Christmas baking. And luckily I live close enough to them. They swung by and dropped off some goodies for me. So I just finished eating a burger and I had a peanut butter cookie or two afterwards. And I've got some show notes for everybody today. We took a week off. Some people have written the show asking, hey, are you guys still doing the show? Because we have been known to just quit. Not intentionally, just because for lack of a better way to say it, we just had other shit come up that held higher importance in the podcast to us. Yeah, so did a lot of show notes today, and I've been playing Cyberpunk 2077 on my PS5. That is about the only game I've been playing lately, and we're gonna have a big Cyberpunk episode, spoiler free. I know you haven't played it, Jake, but I want to talk about it and explain to you the fiasco that this game is in the video game world.
I've been reading a lot about it, so I'm curious what your firsthand experience is.
Yeah, I figured you would be, and I thought the listeners would like to hear as well. Are you playing anything, though, right now? Did you pick up any new games, Miles Morales, anything like that?
No, I've just been playing whatever that fucking Star Wars game is, Fallen Order. And I've gotten to the point where I just like want it to be over. Like the story isn't captivating me enough, and like the combat isn't captivating me enough.
Yeah,
it's not like I thought whenever I was watching the trailers for it, I was like, oh, this looks really cool. Like it looks like a cute kind of interesting story, and the combat was giving me some vibes of like The Force Unleashed, which is a game that I really loved. And I got into this game. Dude, I've been playing this game. Did you play The Force Unleashed?
Long time ago, I think.
So like, how generally in Star Wars games, if you're playing a Jedi, right, it's almost like a given that you can do like a double jump where you like jump and flip.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I've been playing this game for literally 10 fucking hours and I just unlocked the ability to do that.
That should be like the first ability.
I know. There's just some of these like weird little quirks about how you're unlocking abilities and stuff in this game where I'm just like, pick up the pace, man. I want to feel like a badass, not like some freaking chump. And I get it. Like it fits with the story, right? You're playing as a a quote unquote Jedi who was really like the apprentice of a Jedi when Order 66 came through and all the Jedis were killed. You probably don't know much about Star Wars.
I don't know much of the lore, no.
So basically, there is a part in the story where, and it takes place in episode 3, if you're talking about the movies, which is actually the third one of the prequel trilogy that was made in like 99. So what happens is, Senator Palpatine rises to power, turns into Emperor Palpatine, and then he executes Order 66, which is basically tells all the clone troopers to essentially just murder all the Jedi.
Right.
Because he wants them all gone because they could threaten his power. So
they're dangerous to him, yeah.
This game takes place a few years after that, where you were the apprentice of one of the Jedi, and then presumably your master was killed as a part of this executive order. And so you're not really like full on Jedi. Like you never like got to the point where you were granted Jedi status by the Jedi Council or whatever. But like, you have some of the abilities, and they like have this just kind of just stupid storytelling element where he's just like, he's been hiding for a few years. So he's quote unquote like lost his connection to the Force. So yeah. Every so often you have these stupid flashbacks where you do this like trial with your old master, and then all of a sudden now I can double jump. Like it's just dumb shit like that where it's like, okay, this type of shit should have just been, it's almost like they wanted to make this action adventure game in the Star Wars universe, but they didn't want to put like all of the time and effort into like making all of the Jedi stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's got, the force powers you have are slow. You can slow things down. You can push things, and you can pull things towards you. And then the one other ability that I've unlocked, and maybe there's some shit that'll come in the future, but I'm fairly deep into the game, is you can throw your lightsaber. And
right.
Like all of this shit uses like a shitload of force power, which doesn't replenish unless you kill enemies. So you've got to like, I don't know. I don't need to jump too far into it. It's just to say that like I am enjoying the game, but like the combat is challenging because it requires a lot of finesse, and like it's like Witcher-esque. You know what I mean? Where you have to like dodge and stuff, but you have way fewer abilities than you do in The Witcher. Like in The Witcher, remember you could like.
You have a lot of options.
Like use all the different signs, or like build your character a certain way to be like more
elixirs or potions. And
or you could be like more parry oriented, or you could dodge more, or you could be more like magic oriented or whatever, or like stealth. Whereas like in this game, you can't even sneak in this game. It's literally like if I walk up to the back of a stormtrooper that cannot see me, I have no ability to sneak, so even if I walk really slowly, as soon as I get within a certain radius of that stormtrooper, they just turn around and start shooting at me.
Wow.
And it's like weird little, but to be fair, I think Respawn made this game in like literally 18 months or something. So it's not like it's on to me. If it's true and they only made it only took a couple of years to make it. It's pretty impressive what they came up with.
Sure.
But I wish that they would have put a little bit more, I don't know if it's that they didn't put thought into it, is maybe they just didn't invest enough into the game. They put more emphasis on the story and not so much into the gameplay part of it. And so, whereas like the cool thing about The Force Unleashed is like, yeah, the story was really dope in that game, but the gameplay was fucking awesome. Like being just this powerful Jedi with this light side and dark side, you could kind of choose between the powers. You could choose to go evil if you wanted to. Like really, really cool. And so, yeah, I'm still playing that. I'm trying to blast through it. And then, dude, I've been really like, it's been really hard for me to not buy Cyberpunk. And because I really want to play it. If I quit playing this game, then I won't go back to it probably.
Yeah. Well, wait until you hear what I have to say about it, and it may influence you one way or the other.
Well, and I will say too that like the one thing that has kept me from playing Cyberpunk is all of the shit I've been reading about it. And part of me wants to wait a little bit until hopefully, like maybe if not until the PS5 version comes out, at least until they fix some of the shit I've been reading about.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm done about Star Wars. You can go ahead and talk about your stuff.
Well, today's show, I thought we'd kick the show off, Jake, and go back and review our predictions for the Game Awards and how accurate our predictions were. And I think the listeners are going to be surprised.
I know I missed Game of the Year because I did see that one.
Yeah. So I cobbled the list together with what got picked and what we chose. And we're going to run through this pretty quick. We don't need to go into too much. But then I am going to talk about the Cyberpunk 2077 release and the shit show that has ensued, as well as maybe a few other little things. And then we can wrap up the show with a new recording that you and I were both part of for Christmas here to share with the listeners. So the Game of the Year, Jake, 2 episodes ago, 159, we made predictions about the Game Awards. And Game of the Year, The Last of Us Part 2 won. And I did predict that. Jake, you said Final Fantasy VII. So let's get it out of the way. Well, we'll wait to the end. I know what the score is. So for best game direction, we both said Last of Us 2, and we were both correct. For the best game narrative, we both said Last of Us 2, and we were both correct. The most anticipated game, I don't think either of us answered this, or maybe, I don't think we answered it, but the answer was Elden Ring. I don't even know what that is. Is that like the latest Elder Scrolls game or something?
No, it's something from oh gosh, I can't remember the developer.
It doesn't even fucking matter.
Oh, it's the next game from Software. One of the next games from Software.
Okay, so it'll be like every other game from Software.
Possibly.
Probably. All right, and then for best art direction, the game that won was Ghost of Tsushima. Neither of us won that. You said Final Fantasy VII. I said The Last of Us Part 2. Best score and music, Final Fantasy VII won that. So neither of us won that because we both agreed that Doom Eternal probably should have got the best sound score music, which is fucking metal. Best performance, and I think you got this one. I think you said Laura Bailey as Abby.
Yeah.
And then I said Ashley Johnson as Ellie.
Uh-huh.
So Laura Bailey won it. So you get a credit for that one. Best ongoing game. We both got this right with No Man's Sky. I was surprised that they won that. Happy. We both felt they deserved it. Best indie game. We both got this having never played it. The answer was Hades. So we both got credit for that. Best mobile game. We missed this. No, you got it right. You said Among Us. I said Genshin Impact. So that's a point for you. Best VR game. We both got this right with Half-Life. Alex. Best accessibility. We both got it right with The Last of Us 2. Best action game, neither of us got this. Hades won. We've never played it, so we couldn't really pick it for that. But we both agreed that Doom probably should get it because through and through it's just fucking perfect as far as action. I wanted to say Streets of Rage 4, but I just knew it wouldn't win. Best action adventure game, neither of us got this. We both said Ghost of Tsushima was going to win that, but The Last of Us 2 won best action adventure game, which is kind of strange. Best RPG, neither of us got that. Final Fantasy VII was the win. We both said Persona 5. Best fighting game. You didn't respond to this. You did say you enjoyed the Mortal Kombat trailers. That game's fucking awesome. But you didn't really give an answer. Uh-huh. I said Mortal Kombat, and I was correct. So I don't know if you're disqualified on that question, if you just get a 0 or a 1. I don't know. It does affect the outcome. Best family game, we both said Animal Crossing. We were right. Best sports game, Tony Hawk. We both said that. I agreed with you. You said it should be. Multiplayer game, Among Us. Neither of us said that. We both said Call of Duty. If we count it as if you don't get credit for the Mortal Kombat, we tied at 10 correct each, even though we're different on some of them.
I feel like that's fair. If I didn't answer it, I didn't answer it.
Yeah. So we both tied, dude. That's actually not bad. We predicted 10 of those correctly, which is pretty cool. Huh. But yeah, not bad, man. So between us, that's 20 correct predictions. So the news, though, Jake, let me kick into this. We're not going to do news. We're going to do Cyberpunk, which is pretty much all the news has been lately. So Cyberpunk 2077, developed by CD Projekt RED, arguably one of the absolute most anticipated games ever, was released after multiple changes to the original release date. The game had gone gold, and CD Projekt RED even delayed after that. It's rare, and there was a lot of speculation about what that could mean for the game. Well, now we know. So what we do know is Cyberpunk 2077 had over 8 million pre-orders. 8 fucking million pre-orders. Both the PS4 version and the Xbox One versions are laughable and completely unstable piles of hot garbage. Here's my notes. CD Projekt RED put a public statement out regarding the poor state in which the game's released for previous gen consoles, saying on an update, and I'm going to read this word for word. This is the statement they put out. And it says, "Dear gamers, first of all, we would like to start by apologizing to you for not showing the game on base last-gen consoles before it premiered, and in consequence, not allowing you to make a more informed decision about your purchase. We should have paid more attention to making it play better on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Second, we will fix bugs and crashes and improve the overall experience. The first round of updates has just been released, and the next one is coming within the next 7 days. Expect more, as we will update frequently whenever new improvements are ready. After the holidays, we'll continue working. We'll release 2 large patches, starting with patch number 1 in January. This will be followed by patch number 2 in February. Together, these should fix the most prominent problems gamers are facing on last-gen consoles. We will be informing you about the contents of each patch ahead of the release. They won't make the game on last-gen look like it's running on a high-spec PC or next-gen console, but it will be closer to that experience than it is now. Finally, we would always like everyone who buys our games to be satisfied with their purchase. We would appreciate it if you would give us a chance, but if you're not pleased with the game on your console and you don't want to wait for the updates, you can opt to refund your copy. For copies purchased digitally, please use the refund system of PSN or Xbox respectively. For boxed versions, please try to get a refund at the store where you bought the game. Should this not be possible, contact us at helpmerefund@cdprojectred.com and we will do our best to help you. Starting from today, you can contact us for a week up until December 21st, 2020, humbly, and then all the names of the people who were, I guess, on the chair, whatever, Cyberpunk. It says, P.S. PC gamers will also be getting regular updates and fixes improving the game. So I will say that's just ridiculous. They're pretty much outright admitting that they didn't put any time into the last-gen consoles, like getting it to work. They're just saying, hey, we felt pressured to put it out probably on this because they didn't want to lose money because no one could get their fucking hands on the next gen shit. And, they can't, they've invested 8 years of time. I'm not defending them at all. I think it's bullshit that these games, the game even, I think it's bullshit that it released the way it did and how it plays on the PS5 personally. But, and we'll get to all that, but a game patch, a hotfix was released on 12/11. That addressed a lot of things that were specifically quest-related, Jake. What they were quest-related stuff that I'm not going to go into. This kind of spoilery, but it says right in the patch notes what it fixed. And then it says a preview and weapon crafting. These are all the things that were fucked up that this patch addressed. And this is the second patch. This isn't the day 0 patch. This is like the next patch. It says a preview and weapon crafting, vehicle appearance pop-ins, perspective switching while driving, animations missing from quest NPCs during cinematics, improvised stability, including various crash fixes, flashing effects when doing a brain dance, which is the thing you do in the game, to reduce risk of seizures, improved reflections on the PS4 and Xbox One, among others. This is in addition to the day 1 patch, which improved graphics and animations, performance and stability, combat and economy balance, UI improvements, and trophy and achievement fixes. So all that shit they were able to patch right away. And they probably knew all that shit was wrong. And they were probably crunching right down to the day it released and just didn't, they had the day 1 patch and then all this other shit, they had to fix too. So the game clearly was broken as it was released. So while on their site, I noticed they have a support link that has a button that you can click that says, I want a refund. And that takes you straight to the thing that I just read. With that being said, though, CD Projekt did announce that they don't have any agreement or deal with Sony or Microsoft to facilitate refunds. And they indicate that they operate independently from Sony and Microsoft. And this is what they said specifically. One has to understand Microsoft and Sony have refund policies for every product that is released digitally on their storefronts. Despite several articles I've seen that things are being set up just for us, it's actually not true. These policies are in place and have always been in place. They're not offered specifically for us. anyone who has purchased any title on the PlayStation Network or the Microsoft storefront can ask for a refund. And if it's made within certain boundaries, usually related to time, usage, and so on, can ask for that refund. Our procedure here with Microsoft and Sony is no different than with any other title released on any of those storefronts. And then, so there are Twitter images of people getting a hold of Sony, asking for a refund of their digital download of Cyberpunk. And the Sony refund for digital downloads, the boundaries that CD Projekt RED are referring to is that if you download the game, if you buy it digitally and download it to your thing, you can't refund it. So the only way you can refund it is if you don't actually download it. And you just leave it there. And it has to be within 14 days from the date it was purchased, but you cannot have downloaded the game. So considering most people already had this game pre-installed on their systems, ready to play at midnight, they're all fucked. They're all absolutely fucked. And this is such an underhanded jab for CD Projekt to come out and say, hey, listen, we know our game's shit. If you need to ask for a refund, we understand. Get it refunded. It's within your right to do that. But when Sony's refund policy sucks so bad, these people are just screwed. They're just screwed out of money. They have a shitty game that won't play on the PS4.
I know it's better. It's better on other platforms. Like Sony just specifically has a bad refund policy.
Yeah, I know box stores, like you can take it in probably. I don't know how that works, but
yeah, I don't know. Like I know on Steam you can refund the game, and I know on Xbox I think you might be able to do it too. I think it's just Sony's is really fucking bad, where it's like, oh, you bought the game but you downloaded it, you can't have it refunded. It's like, well, what if you never even started the game? Like it doesn't even make any sense,
right?
It's probably has something to do with the fact that maybe Sony doesn't have a way of tracking how long you've played the game. So for, if let's say it's within 14 days or whatever, you could have downloaded the game, played it all the way through, and then asked for a refund.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would probably take advantage of that if that were the case. But they should have a better system in place, though, for sure. Maybe you're limited to like 3 refunds a year or something. I don't know. It's just this kind of thing shouldn't happen. Right? This kind of thing just should not have happened.
I honestly think that it's pretty fucked up that CD Projekt RED even released the game in that state.
100%.
Like, yeah. What they should have done is they should have just been like, hey, it's available. If they needed to get it out, they should have said, okay, well, the PC version is available.
And even like you can play the PS4 version on the PS5, but we're not going to release. Well, they can't do that because the PS4 version would have been available for PS4 consoles.
Right. So what they should have done is either not released it at all, because people would have been mad, but they still would have they
would have fucking got over it.
They would have waited. But I don't think very many people would have canceled their pre-orders. You release it the way that you released it. Now there's all kinds of bad blood in the water, and it's just. Granted, the game, from my understanding, if you look past the performance issues on the consoles and you look past the bugs, is still a really impressive game. And much like the Elder Scrolls games, it's going to get a pass on the bugs and shit. But there's going to be a section of people that are not going to forget about the way that they were treated with this launch.
So what happens when the next Witcher game comes out, right? What are people going to be thinking? I'm not fucking buying that hot garbage the day it comes out. The Witcher 3, apparently, Jake, they said was really, really buggy when it came out. Now, you and I bought it pretty close to release, and I don't remember it being that bad. You got it before me.
Got it, and then I told you how good it was, and then I think you and I both bought it after that, because Sarah was working at the video store at the time, and I think she brought it home for me or something like that.
Yeah.
So regardless,
I mean, it's going to taint their name.
It was a couple months maybe after it released, but I don't remember it being broken. It seems like some of the bugs in this game are bad. They're not.
Oh, it's completely crashing. I'm going to put it in. I'm going to tell more about the cons. Yeah, I mean, I've got a laundry list of things about this game, and I've got some bugs that I've documented that we'll get to. There are things that even the PS5 seems to not be able to handle very well with the PS4 version. So there's clearly some shit going on with the PS4 version that is just so infuriating for me. But yeah, like you said, if you can look past some of the bullshit, there might be something there for you. But I know that The Witcher 3 was heavily supported by CD Projekt RED. They continuously release patches and fixes and hot fixes and free DLC, really good DLC at that. Lots of extra stuff. And they do treat their consumers very well historically. So the fact that it seemed like they intentionally didn't let reviewers post video from their actual playing because they were scared the shit was going to show up and it was going to give the game bad rep. And maybe they thought they could get the patches out by the day it released and get it all ready. You know what I mean? Maybe they thought it was possible. And they were just playing Russian roulette. You know, maybe we'll get to it. Maybe we won't. Let's just see what happens. You know, we got to release it. You know, they are heavily invested. They're a big business in Poland. They're one of the biggest corporations in Poland. I think they're in the top 10. You know, they're just a video game developer. So they have a lot of pressure, and they have stockholders and shareholders and people that need explanations of where their money's going, you know. And when you're sitting on a game for 8 years and there's delay after delay after delay, there's probably a little bit of pressure to just release the damn thing and then just get on with your life and just fix it as you can and, you know, try to pacify people. But I really don't think that these statements that they've released post-release of Cyberpunk have been anything but embarrassing on CD Projekt RED part. Like talking about the refunds and then they can't refund it and then just saying, yeah, we didn't really work on the game for PS4. We should have paid more attention to it. And like, you know, oh, stick with us, believe in us. We're going to patch this thing. We're going to make it better. You know, it's just like, wow, and you guys really weren't ready for this. And it's really sad. It's really sad. And it's sad because, look, I'm going to get to, I think the game is really fucking impressive. But so anyways, with all that out of the way, Jake, I need to talk about Cyberpunk 2077 and give my first impressions. So I'm going to list some of my major critiques and then some of my holy shit, this is awesome things in that order. So keeping in mind, I'm playing the PlayStation 4 version on a PlayStation 5. Starting off, the city seems very much empty right now in regards to people walking around the street traffic. Like literally when I'm navigating from a waypoint to another waypoint in Night City, there may be one or two cars on the highways. Like that's it. There's hardly any traffic at all. And like, what's really weird is if I park my car and get out of it, like it doesn't seem like the cars know to go around. So they just stack up behind it. And it's just so fucking like immersion breaking because that's not what would happen in real life. They would drive around your car. Like how hard was it to do that? So it makes the world feel way less lived in. Now, I'm sure we've all seen the really awesome video of the game and, you know, the streets are bustling. Now, granted, there are places that you return to, like you have an apartment in the game. So when you're going through the apartment area and you're inside the building complex and stuff, there are people littered everywhere, but probably because they're not randomly generated, they're just supposed to be in there doing their thing, like running their stands. So like anytime you get into markets and stuff, or you get into areas that like clubs, there's plenty of people milling about and it looks great. But just on the street and stuff, Night City, you think about a city that never sleeps, you think like Night City's going to be banging at night. But like literally, there's like next to nobody out and about, especially when you're driving your car. Like if you look out your window while you're driving your car and you're flying through the city, you don't see like more than one or two people on the sidewalk. And it's like, this seems so barren. So the world doesn't feel very, very lived in compared to the videos that I've seen. I have noticed more traffic before the patch came out. So after the patch, I felt like the traffic was like reduced. And this is the PS4 version. So they probably did something like that for, I don't know, performance issues. Or maybe I'm just making it up. But like I said, when you go to the markets, you walk around in public, it seems that there's more people walking around than what you would see out your window when you're driving. And it mostly has everything to do with performance, being that it's a PS4 game. So next up, gunplay. It was real janky at first. It just felt kind of rigid and not good. But I'm getting used to it. And in the game, you actually have the ability to have 3 weapons active, and triangle will switch between them. I double-click triangle, and it holsters it. I think you just click it once, and it pulls out the weapon. And so you could have 3 melee weapons, 2 melee weapons, 1 gun, whatever combination. But the aiming seems kind of stiff. But I will say it's actually much better than Fallout and Deus Ex, which are both games it's been compared to. The aiming and the gunplay is better than that, but it's definitely not Call of Duty or Battlefield quality.
Mm-hmm.
So
not really all that surprised there, because I don't know if CD Projekt has ever made an FPS.
They've never made a first-person shooter, no. So also, given that, I can't believe that they did what they did with this game, you know. But we were talking about bugs. So bugs, more bugs. This game is so buggy, man. It literally crashed on my PS5 like 6 times now. Like it has frozen, locked up, and then I get a blue screen with an error, and it says, "Do you want to send this to Sony? You know, report this with a screen grab." And every fucking time I'm like, yeah, because I really want to see this game run better. Because at the heart of this disaster, man, it's already, honestly, dude, it's hard to believe it, but it's already one of my favorite games. So there are driving bugs where pulling up in the car, the radio, you pull up the car radio, it will freeze, like the whole screen just locks up. And then you're like, oh, is it going to fucking crash completely? Or am I going to be able to select a different radio station? And sometimes it crashes, sometimes it doesn't. There, like I mentioned before, there's like literally zero traffic when you're driving. Like no fucking cars on the road. It's fucking, I can't even explain it. Like it doesn't make any sense. But I mean, maybe there's one or two. Like you'll see one or two when you start slowing down. But if you're just fucking flying down the highways, there's like fucking no traffic. It's weird. It's really, I don't know. It's really weird. So that's one of the bugs. I think it's a bug. And then, or maybe it's performance, like I said, but crouching sometimes during conversations with AI, it won't let you stand back up. And the only way to get out of the crouch position is to jump. It's really fucking weird. So it's like buggy like that. And then there are many times where there are like items that you can see, you know, like in Fallout when you grab stuff, you press square to grab stuff and like you can't quite get yourself in the right position relationship to the thing that you're trying to pick up. Like you're looking down at it, you're looking a little left of it, you're backing up, you're moving forward, and you're just not getting the prompt to pick it up. That happens all the time in this game. So
I can believe it.
It's fucking crazy. So tutorials. I haven't done any manual tutorials, and I think they exist, but the game literally doesn't tell you much at all. Like, it's really confusing. Like, the menu system and the UI are kind of similar to that of The Witcher, but also much different because it feels like the UI's menu has sub-menus, which is weird. So, like, you can't get everything on the main menu, so then you got to navigate to sub-menus, and sometimes those menus feel like they open up new menus. So, like, the menu system's, like, layers deep. And again, though, this is something I've managed to become more comfortable with now that I've probably put at least 7 to 10 hours into the game. But I'm definitely not blown away by the menu or the UI at all. But again, it doesn't break the game because I've adjusted. Graphics. So, Jake, you know, I just bought an HDR TV. This has an HDR setting. The game has an HDR setting, and I've been using it. But I'm just like, man, it looks fucking washed out and weird in HDR. So I got online yesterday, and the default HDR settings for this is all in the PS4 version for the PS5, are absolutely boned. And everybody's on the threads talking about it. So the default settings are just awful. The screen gets really washed out and looks bad. So if you're using HDR, you almost have to like tweak all of the stuff. And I don't even know what half of it is. There's like a midpoint level. There's like these different things that I don't, if it's HDR, it should just fucking adjust and make it look as good as it can, but it doesn't. The default settings suck. So I found a way to set up HDR and make it look good. And by God, when you get it set up right, it looks fantastic. So if you have the game and you don't and you have HDR, don't use the default settings. Look up online the best HDR settings for Cyberpunk, and you'll find where to put the sliders. And it makes it look great. And it just makes me I can't wait for the PS5 upgrade. Like if it looks this good on the PS4, like I'm so excited for the PS5. And I've heard really great things about the graphics of this game.
I've seen some comparison footage between like the maxed out PC version of the game and like the PS4, PS, on PS, like basically playing it on Xbox Series X or PS5.
Yeah.
And like not even the OG PlayStation, but like PS5. Right. And it's like insane how much of a
Better the
difference
PC one
just like
looks?
the lighting is and the ray tracing and like,
Dude, you probably the images that you're seeing, I bet you they don't have the fucking sliders adjusted right. Like you would think. So the way the menu works is like HDR mode, yes or no, right? And you click yes. And then you just get out of the menu and you figure, okay, now I'm in HDR. But if you go back to that HDR menu and you say yes, if you push in the L3 thumbstick, it pulls up additional HDR settings. And it doesn't really, it's hard to find. And there's all these different, there's like 3 different sliders, and they make the contrast, the color, everything just pops so much better when those are adjusted. Like like the dark areas look dark, the bright lights look bright, instead of just being flat looking. It's weird.
I'm sure. You're probably right as far as like the footage you see online maybe not being quite adjusted right, but there were other things like you could tell like the resolution wasn't quite
textures
right, and like the textures and stuff like that. So, which like I don't think like I think if I'm not mistaken, on the PS5 there is no option for performance mode or graphics mode. And
correct, it just runs at 60.
Yeah, on the Xbox you can actually choose between graphics and performance mode.
Okay.
So in PS5 it's only performance mode. So they don't have like I think like what you're playing is in 1080p. I don't think it's in 4K. I think it's 1080p 60 hertz. So there's like little things like that, but I mean, you're probably a last gen version on a
next gen console. Yeah.
Yeah.
So another thing that I read was that save games are getting corrupted and you're losing them. So I've been keeping 2 save files separately from one another.
Yeah.
And then like Fallout and other games similar to the style first person RPG, like Cyberpunk, you think, oh man, I'm going to make my character look fucking badass. But the awesome looking clothes don't always give you the best stats. So your character inevitably always ends up looking like a shithead if you're dressing for performance over looking cool. And like, that's one thing I wish these games could get right. That like, you can walk around in underwear in this game, in a football helmet or like some sort of hard hat and be a badass, and then have a dude decked out like the guy in the cover of the game and be just a shitty character because the stats suck.
Yeah. I don't really get why these a lot of these RPGs struggle with this. It's like that is true, and then there gets to be a point where it's like, oh, if you find this like uber epic like legendary rare gear, it looks good and it is good. But like,
right.
But like everything else before you get to that point is like
just a grab bag of shit.
Yeah, it's like, oh, your melee weapon is like a fucking broken claw hammer, and you've got like a football helmet on, and those are the best stats you could get. Like, I don't understand it. I mean, it's so weird,
dude. Because like on the character development of the game, you can make your dude look fucking badass, or your character rather. I made my guy look really badass. Like he has like this like real slick mustache and cool looking hair, and he's got like tats on his neck, like it says V on his neck because that's his name, and he's a nomad, and he's fucking this hardened dude, and he looks badass, and I'm like, yeah, I'm this fucking dude, I'm role playing now. But then like 2 hours into the game, I find a pair of shorts that are like the best armor I can find, and I feel, how I feel about shorts, and then this weird ass pair of like shoes. And the shirt I was wearing was like a halter top, but my guy had a gas mask on because I had good stats. So I'm walking around Night City with a gas mask, a pair of shorts, shitty looking shoes, and a halter top. And those are the best stats that I can have. And it's just like, why is this? And it goes the same for Fallout too. Fallout does the same shit. All those, I don't know if Skyrim's the same or not, but you're right. It's an issue with these fucking games.
Fallout. Well, I don't know what they'll do in the future, but I know that like, the Elder Scrolls games were usually pretty good about having you kind of get the look that you want. Now, the difference is that the Elder Scrolls, like their armor and stuff was much more – there weren't as many options, right? It was like you could have like this type of light armor, or you could have this type of heavy – and it was like you can mix and match them and stuff, but like it wasn't like like if you were going for a specific build, you were going to get armor of a specific type. Whereas like in Fallout, it's like in Fallout, it kind of makes sense, right? You're like wandering around a wasteland like you imagine, like it kind of makes sense a little bit.
Yeah, because you're scrounging for shit.
Yeah, but like in this game, I don't really get why they're making you go through the whole, trash can armor setup thing. It seems like you should be able to like go to the freaking local Reebok or whatever and buy like some sick looking clothes.
I mean, you're a mercenary. Awesome. Like you're a mercenary on the streets, like being a badass. Like who wants to walk around in jams?
Yeah.
God, it's so lame. So there's 2 other cons, and we're going to get to all the pros that I have. The mini-map navigation's really weird. There are way markers that you can see from the first-person view, so you can get a general idea of what direction you need to go in. You can set way markers on the map. The map it looks enormous. We'll get to it, but there's tons of shit to do in this game. But the mini-map in the top right, which shows you the path you need to take to get your objective, because like the highway is like Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania's highway. Like it's levels and there's on ramps and off ramps, and some roads go above other roads. There's bridges, and there's just like around Night City. And so like the navigational thing with the dots that you're supposed to follow as you're traveling to your waypoint doesn't really seem to cling to the right streets sometimes, and you find yourself on the wrong roads by accident because you couldn't really make out what it was pointing to on the minimap, and that's just frustrating. So that's one of the cons. It's not a game breaker. And then like I was driving around at night in Night City, and it was really dark in front of my car, and I was like, did I hit something, or is there no control for headlights, or my headlights not on? So like little things like that. So I was having a really hard time like just even seeing. Now granted, I have the HDR settings turned up so when it's night it looks night, it doesn't look gray out. So I was just hoping to get like some sort of view driving at night, and I was having trouble. So I don't know if the vehicles have headlights, and if they do, I don't know that you can turn them on or off. And then my last complaint is it's not really a surprise, but you can't go prone in this game, so you can't lay on your stomach. So that being out of the way, man, the pros, the world is awesome. It's just plain fucking amazing. This is such a flushed out world, even though there's not a lot of traffic and a lot of people on the streets. There's so much shit, it seems like. And like The Witcher, so far every side quest, and there's so many side quests that I've done. I've only done 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 5. I don't know. They're all optional, but they've been all super interesting and flushed out. And there's lots of dialogue options, and it's really impressive. They really flushed out this world, and I can completely tell that like I'm going to get lost in this game. I'm already there already, despite the bugs. Like I'm just so in on this game, even though I'm frustrated with things of it. The main story quests are absolutely amazing. They're better than the side missions. And the amount of detail to the character building and the relationships that your character has with other characters, it just feels so good. It's almost like you start caring about the characters, at least some of them. They have personalities almost like they do in Uncharted. Like the voice acting is top notch. People are complaining about Keanu Reeves, but like he's cold in every movie. What do you fucking expect? It's Keanu Reeves. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I've never seen him actually act very well. He's just kind of like a badass. He's not a great actor. He's talented, but he's not like, you're not going to go to him for a super emotional role or anything. He's going to be pretty flat. And that's just how he is. But they killed it with quests again. CD Projekt RED absolutely killed it with quests. There's so many side missions. There's shit. You'll just be like, for instance, it's not even much of a spoiler. I was just walking. I was in this market, and I found this merchant, and he was a record dealer or something. Like he was from back in the day when, not spoiling anything, but Johnny Silverhand is the character that Keanu Reeves plays. If you've been following the game at all, you know that. And he was in a band, and like it really inspired a lot of people one way or another. But this is now in the future, and this guy is hawking different, like, just fucking albums and stuff. And your character has the option to like talk to him about albums and music and stuff. And it's really cool the way they fucking do it. Like these side quests are just so cool. And this side quest is completely irrelevant, but I'll spoil a little bit. And it's not much at all. you have a conversation with Johnny Silverhand and he tells you that back in the day, there were some bootlegs of his band Samurai. And then your guy's like, oh shit, are they still floating around? You think I can make a lot of money off them if we find them? And he goes, fuck if I know. I mean, I doubt anyone has them. And then you find this record guy and you can question him about that. But what's so cool about it is like while you're talking with him, Keanu Reeves' character will like turn into like a fucking hologram behind him. And no one can see Keanu Reeves' character but you because he's in like an implant in your head. And, that's all in the trailers and stuff. So you can have this conversation with Keanu Reeves and this guy's asking you like, well, prove you're a Samurai fan. Prove what happened at their third fucking show. And then like, you know, and then you can have the conversation with Keanu Reeves and then you can choose whether or not to trust what he's telling you because he's kind of a dick. And then you don't know if he's trying to make you look like an asshole to the merchant or not. And you get it's a fucking little mini thing that is completely unimportant to the game. But like this shit is everywhere in the game and it lasts much longer than you think it would. It's so good. Like the quests are so fucking fun and interesting and they're time consuming, but not in a way that you're like, oh, I was just going to get over it. Like you're just like, oh man, this is so exciting. So, and then being a mercenary is just fun, period. Taking jobs from random people on the street, dude. And you just go around and you do these things and you sneak into places and you fucking get into gang shootouts and cyber fucking, it's awesome. Tons of dialogue. It's all spoken and recorded audio, so it's super immersive. There's like any dialogue that you have, none of it do you ever have to just read. Like you can read your options and click on it, and then he'll actually say something a little bit different than what you pick. So none of it seems like it's repetitive. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's one of the things that one quote that I guess I could say that I don't even remember where I read this, but it seems like one of the most sort of poignant or like encompassing quotes that you can kind of have about this game is that like one reviewer was talking about, it might've been from IGN or somebody else, but they were talking about how envious they are of somebody who picks this game up in 6 months and plays it for the first time.
Holy shit.
Because like they're talking about how like, you know, with regardless of the bugs and all that kind of stuff, the actual game and the atmosphere and the fucking side quests and the story are supposedly so good.
They're so fucking good.
Just based on like the way that The Witcher 3 fleshed out their side, like the side quests in that game, like if it's even remotely close to how they did that, you know, then I expect that it's pretty amazing. It's
fantastic. I have a few more things and we're at 49 minutes on the thing. And I did say, well, there's a quick save feature that I really like. So you just pause the game and hit triangle and it does a quick save for you. You don't have to go find the files, but if you want to right now, because it's buggy, do manual saves, you can. This could be a pro or a con depending on what you like in a game, but there is a lot of lore and opportunities to read things. So there's like the idea of like picking up newspapers and reading through stuff to feel more immersion, to kind of get an idea of the world that's living and breathing. So whether that's in your wheelhouse or not is up for you to decide. But to me, it's a really cool thing. And I like to read that shit and I get crazy about it. So you can collect a lot of that stuff and go into the menu and then read. They come in what they call shards. And I think shards are things that you just kind of can stick in your head or something and then it just shows up digitally. But you can go into the menu system and read all that stuff. And they have it organized really well. And while gameplay, like I said earlier, felt janky to begin with, I actually learned to really love it. And I understand the weapons much better after playing the game for a while. So it's one of those games where like it's not going to tell you everything you need to know, but after you mess around with it for a long enough time, you're going to finally understand it. And I don't want to spoil anything, but it's just so cool. So imagine Fallout with way better graphics, way better quests, and better aiming and gun mechanics with vehicles in the future where shit's thriving and you get cybernetic implants and you get really badass weapons and there's weapons everywhere. Dude, there are different stats for all these weapons. You have different specials, the different abilities. Skill trees are ridiculously large. This is a straight RPG through and through. And one thing I love about it is Cyberpunk. So there's a lot of hacking in this game, and hacking is awesome, and it's made really easy. And the game rewards you for hacking. You get experience every time you hack something. So there aren't mini games every time you hack. So it makes you want to hack more often. It's used on how how it's used is, to disable a turret or to, screw with an enemy's optics. It requires X amount of RAM, and you can upgrade your RAM as the game goes on. So like maybe 2 RAM to do this. And you just like left click, you scan the enemy and you press square on the option you want, and then it just hacks them. And it's really cool. And then the RAM actually will regenerate at various rates depending on what you've drank or eaten, like in The Witcher. Like if you have a potion or something, you don't have potions in Cyberpunk, but you can eat different shit, drink energy drinks, and do different shit that can make that stuff regen faster. And the game doesn't tell you what does what. You have to go in your inventory and read all that shit. And there's tons of different things you pick up. Or maybe you have a skill perk that makes it regen faster. And there's always more than one way to skin a cat in the game. You can take on missions many different ways. Stealth, if you can do it. You can build up your stealth stuff and be really good at stealth. You can go in guns blazing. You can do a little bit of both. Sometimes I think you could probably talk your way out of action. But it truly feels like your relationships with the characters literally can go different ways depending on how you choose to interact with them. And another cool thing is you can jump and climb on shit. Turns out to be useful because there is a dimension of crawling and kind of mantling onto ceilings and roofs and finding grates to go down. And so that's a very Deus Ex kind of thing. Later in the game, I heard that you can get leg implants to jump really high, which seems really cool. But honestly, this game is holy shit fucking awesome, dude. It's just a real shame. Real fucking shame that it was released the way it was. And shame on CD Projekt for doing that. But I want to thank them because I know they're going to support this game and it's going to get on the right legs. But I just feel so bad for everyone who got dicked over on last gen. I feel so bad for them.
Honestly, I would like, why didn't they what they should have done is done like an early access release of this game. They should have just been like, hey, the game's going to be $70 when it comes out.
Yeah.
But if you buy it, we'll release it for quote unquote early access on, whenever they release it, December 10th, and you get a discount, maybe like $50 or something like that for the game.
Yeah.
But you buy it understanding from the developer that it's fucking broken. And you're like, hey, we're working on this, but at least you get to play the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I feel like they could have handled. There's so many different ways that they could have.
This could have been addressed so many different ways, dude.
They could have handled it. I mean, honestly, I think part of it is just because I think they self-published this game. They didn't have a publisher this time.
Yep.
So like they had a lot of pressure internally, maybe to get it out. But like, dude, they would have been so much better off just being like, "Look, dudes." We've got 8 million pre-orders for this game. We're going to make our money back. Let's maybe just wait 3 or 4 more months to get it out.
Let's just get it right.
You know what I mean? Like, why not just wait? Now, maybe they had to post profits or something for their investors for the turn
end of the year. Yeah.
I don't know, but like, it's just absolutely ridiculous that they released it the way that it is. Like,
and it's such a shame, man. The Metacritic user score was like 0 point something because everyone just feels burned by it. But damn, this game is so good when it's running.
Dude,
it's so good.
I don't know if you remember, but like there was a big hubbub back in the day when Skyrim came out on PS3 because it ran kind of crappy on PS3.
Yeah, I remember that.
Xbox 360. And I bought it on PS3 and I played it at launch. And yeah, it ran a little slow and it was kind of wonky or whatever, but it wasn't like the bugs weren't asinine. They were just kind of like standard Bethesda open world kind of bugs. If you look at the freaking base PS4 running this game, like dude, it's another level of fucked up. Like it's everything, so dude, the memes I've seen of like just like, oh, look at Cyberpunk on base PS4, and it's like some just blurry ass picture of like the Cyberpunk logo or something,
like a half rendered logo, dude, and the music sounds like 8-bit and shit.
And they're not even fucking kidding all that much. Like if you look at gameplay footage of Cyberpunk on base PS4, it's blurry. Like they literally cut the resolution so bad and they cut the view distance so bad that the game is literally blurry. And I've seen like video of the game literally dropping down to like 10 or 15 frames a second in different spots.
It's just a few polygons, like for a character.
Oh my God, it's awful. It's absolutely awful. And it's
an atrocity. Like, the thing that pisses me off the most, Jake, is like, I don't know that this game is going to be able to recover from this. And it sucks because it's so fucking fun and it's so good. It's so good.
Dude, I think that it'll recover. It's just going to be one of those things where people are going to – dude, it's like the Bethesda syndrome, right? Like, Bethesda had to make a couple of bad games before people started being like, maybe they're not that great anymore. And like this game seems like – it's still a great game. It's just a rocky launch in terms of its technical issues. You know, think about a game like No Man's Sky, right? No Man's Sky launched and wasn't it wasn't even probably a third or a half of what Hello Games promised. But now that game is widely considered
winning awards.
It just won a game award. It's widely considered to be the most turned around game of all time.
Yeah.
In terms of like how good it is now. And I think that CD Projekt RED has a lot more to work with. They just got to basically iron out performance and bugs, and they've already got a great game. They've just got to fix the bugs. So
yeah.
Like, as soon as they're a talented studio, so you're talking, you know, maybe in a few months, early or, you know, maybe mid to late spring, they're going to have one of the greatest games of the generation, and the generation's only 2 months old.
It's only just beginning. Dude, this game, like, I really want you to buy it. I want you to buy it and play it now, because like I feel like you'll have some more to bring to the show if you do.
Yeah, I might. I was thinking about maybe playing. I might buy. My kind of thought process was, after I play Star Wars, assuming I don't quit early because it's frustrating me, is that my next game is either going to be Cyberpunk or Miles Morales. And the reasoning behind playing Miles Morales before Cyberpunk is that would give CD Projekt
some time,
a few more weeks to basically polish up Cyberpunk before I played it.
Well, they said they're going to have one in January and one in February, a fix.
Right. So I have to imagine I could probably but the thing is that like I'm coming up on a pretty long vacation and over the holidays, and it would be kind of cool to have a game like Cyberpunk that I can literally just fucking sit down and kind of play for hours.
If you get it, just know that you're going to have to give it some time to sit with you. Like, because at first, like, it was just like, it seemed like overload to me. Like, there's just so much shit going on, and the menus are confusing, and the gunplay is weird, but you will adjust to it and understand it. It just takes a while. The game's weird, but it's fucking special. It's really good. I don't know, man.
I'm glad you like it, even though the control or the game released in such a terrible state.
All I want to do is play it. Like, it's one of those games where, like, it's all I'm doing is thinking about the game and I want to play it. Like, it's already got its hooks in it. I don't know what it is, but The Witcher 3 did the same thing, and now Cyberpunk's doing it. And it's like, all I want to do is climb back into that world and do like another side quest. Like, it's so good. Like, the side quests have characters, man. The side quests have characters that talk and have their own fucking cars and like pull you through their parts of the city and shit. And like, that's not even part of like the game. It is, but it's not. Like, it's just so good. Like, I don't know. You really just feel like you're in this city. Like, yeah, when there's side quests like that just pop up and it turns out being like way more in depth than you would ever even remotely like expected. You're like, God, I'm still in that fucking side quest. Like, literally, like an hour and a half later, you're still playing a fucking side quest, and you have people from the side quest like calling your phone and shit and asking you to meet them different places. You're like, this is a side quest, and you pull out the map, and there's like 80 side quests, and you're just like, what is going on here? Yeah. How did they put this much content into this game and this much? Like, it's just so good. I don't know, man. It's a game to get lost in for sure.
Well,
I don't know.
That's cool though.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
I mean, it's kind of like it'll probably be similar to The Witcher with me. I mean, like, I did a bunch of the side quests, but there's no way in hell I have the time to do every single side quest in that game.
If they stay different enough, man, I mean, no side quest that I've done so far has felt repetitive. Not one. And they've all had their own little story, just like The Witcher. Every fucking side quest, you're like, all right, I'm in. You know, all right. Yep.
One of the things I do appreciate of it is I've read that the actual like main story arc and everything isn't actually terribly long.
No, it's like it's 20 hours or something.
Yeah, maybe 20 or 30 hours, which is really kind of nice. And like you can play the side quests and get way more out of the game, play it for, 100 or 200 hours. Yeah. But like, that was one of the things that irritated me about The Witcher 3 is like the main quest. Like the first time when I beat The Witcher 3, just the main story. Now I did some side quests and stuff, but I think my first playthrough was like 90 hours.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you can do the main quest. But I mean, the side quests are going to give you extra money. They're going to give you extra skill and points to put in your attributes and stuff. So it might make the main quest easier. But I don't know. Like I'm just taking it all at once. And I know that the side quests are going to exist. You know what I mean? They're just going to exist until I beat them. So, but I wanted to do a lot of the side quests because I heard that the main story goes fast and I didn't want to just rush through that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So other news real quick. This is very fast. Kojima Productions is making a big announcement tomorrow or maybe today, depending on when you're listening to this, or maybe it already happened, but people are speculating it's going to be a game announcement or something about a game. Maybe some merchandise. They have a lot of merch they always put out, and get close to Christmas. But anyways, new games coming out. My Hidden Things on PS4 on December 14th. December 15th is Bridge Constructor, The Walking Dead on the PS5. Folia, Dear Father on the PS4. Freddy Spaghetti on PS5, PS4. Round Out by Paugi on PS4. And then Shakedown Hawaii on PS5. And that's all I have for the show, Jake. Is there anything else you want to say? I'm going to close off with something here. I got something written up just so I can speak clearly and not stammer over my words, but I figured we would just do a Cyberpunk show and then we can do another Cyberpunk show after you have more to say about it.
Yeah, no, I don't really have a whole lot to add. I mean, I'm just biding my time until the end of the week because I'm going to be off for a while. So being able to kind of relax, hopefully, and do some gaming. It's hard for me to kind of sit still and game for too awful long, but hopefully I'll have enough free time on my vacation that I can kind of get some gaming in and talk about it a little bit more.
For sure.
I'll be able to get over or get through Star Wars and kind of get past that. But who knows? I might just end up quit playing it. I don't know. I mean, but we'll see.
All right. Well, good. Well, thanks again for tuning in. But before we close the show, I want to remind you guys that Jake and I actually wrote and recorded a Christmas song. We wrote the song about 7 years ago, maybe longer. 6 years ago?
It wasn't that long. I looked at the original recording stuff, and I think it was in 2016.
Okay, so maybe 4 years.
So 4 years ago. So still a little ways ago. Before the Flood got together for sure.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, Jake and I are in a band. It's called Fred Oakman and the Flood. And Jake plays bass. But we wrote this song a while ago, and to be honest, that original recording pales in comparison to what we just did. But there is some beef to the song there. It's got some teeth to it. So it was a challenge. We recorded it remotely, but it was equally kind of fun. And we wanted to give back to the people who support our music endeavors. So if you like, you can stream the song over and over and over on iTunes. It's on Spotify now and Amazon Music and all those different places. And you can share it with your friends. And it's a nice little holiday song. It was really fun to make it sound Christmassy. Or you can just go download it for free at fredoakman.bandcamp.com or fredoakman.com. We're going to put it at the end of the show here so you can listen to it. But if we don't get around to doing another show before the holiday gets kind of busy, just know that we have not quit. And we might be back next week. But if we're not, we wish you all a very warm, enjoyable holiday. It's going to be a tough one for a lot of people being home alone or away from family because of the COVID. But we do wish you all the very happiest holiday that you can have. And with that being said, enjoy the song. It's called "'Tis the Season" in NWPA, which stands for Northwest Pennsylvania. And we'll be back soon with episode 162. So, like Cyberpunk, Cybertruck, and Cyberspace. P.S. This is awesome.
Tis the season in northwestern Pennsylvania. I lost my glove for the 100th time. Snow keeps coming, I'ma lose my mind. Tis the season, and I can't stop thinking about you. 2 months ago we were carving pumpkins with mistletoes, or eggnog chugging with us like last year. The snow chased you back to some West Coast beer. I've been alone. Why can't Santa send you straight back home? It's been so long. It's been so long. Tis the season in northwestern Pennsylvania. I cleared a path to the front door. An hour passed, it wasn't clear no more. Tis the season, and I can't stop thinking about you. Like it's too short